Welcome back to Creating a Universe, where we're discussing the various elements that go into creating a believable and immersive world for your story. Today, we're going to be talking about technology, how it affects the different cultures and societies, and at the same time affects the tone of your world. An important aspect of world building is defining how technologically advanced your setting is. Is it in the modern day, is it a more medieval setting, or is it sci-fi or steampunk? Keep in mind that technology does not just consist of wires and motherboards. Something as basic as a wheel is considered technology. Take those wheels and put them on a wooden box and now you have a wagon. Tame some horses and attach them to the wagon, now you have a means of transporting goods. It's important to find where your world sits on the scale of technology and adhere to it strictly. For example, in a fantasy setting, armor may exist, but the world may not yet have the technology to make full steel plate armor. Therefore, no character should ever be mentioned wearing a steel plate cuirass or breastplate, and the descriptions of armor should stay consistent across the board, whether it's chainmail, leather, gambeson, brigadine, or whatever else you could think of. As with all things when creating an in-depth world, consistency is key at weeding out as many plot holes and discrepancies as possible. Again, this means doing research. Once you have a good understanding of the level of technology, you should research those things further to ensure that you portray them faithfully and accurately. Even if you make your own type of machine, there are still pre-existing mechanics that we're drawing inspiration from. Every machine, real or otherwise, needs a power source. So what's yours? What's the body made out of? Is it held together with nuts and bolts? Does it move? If it does move, then how does it move? What's the function or purpose of the machine? All of these things are important questions that need answers, especially when creating a type of technology that does not already exist. Because I wrote it that way should never be the answer to any of these questions. There should always be an in-world reason for everything that you do. That will create a sense of believability and realism in your world, and it'll create a more engaging read for your audience. Another key aspect of creating technologies is to consider how they affect the different cultures in your world. Think about how different technologies would shape the way that they live and how they interact with each other. For example, in a fantasy world, maybe different cultures have different levels of knowledge and access to magic, and maybe they even view technology as if it is magic. Or in a science fiction story, maybe different cultures have different levels of knowledge and access to more advanced technology. Maybe people who can afford them have cybernetic augmentations, while people down in the slums are forced to undergo unsafe and illegal cybernetic operations. Almost like getting a prison tattoo. The end result would be a much more unsafe, unreliable augmentation that's maybe more raw and exposed than the clean look of the more legal augmentations. It's also important to consider how society views these different levels of technology. Are they accepted? Are they feared? And how does that affect the story and your characters? You can even take this into something as basic as a society of warriors who despises bows and arrows because they view them as a coward's weapon. Bows and arrows being a shunned type of technology to them. These are all important questions that you, as the author of this world, should know the answer to. If you're willing to overlook something, you can be certain that your audience is not. And that's going to be it for this episode of Creating a Universe. Remember, creating technologies that affect the societies and cultures of your world will also set the tone of your story. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. I'm going to be collecting questions throughout the series and answering as many as I can at the end. Remember, there are such things as stupid questions, but that does not mean that they should not be answered. If you found this helpful, leave a like and consider subscribing. If you've made it this far, I simply want to thank you. We're drawing really close to the end of what I had planned for this series, and I really hope that you were able to take at least something away from it. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.